It looks like we have another picture queued up that's going to blow our minds. Let's see it.
Well, this is just an example of a kind of a dual room that serves as a family room where you can hang out, watch movies, cozy up by the fire, and then there's the wet bars kind of right next to it. And we'd like to do like a lot of nice details, like the tray ceiling you see. It really defines the space and gives it just some visual details that you wouldn't always expect in a basement. So that's, and you can see kind of the speakers. I don't know if you can see those under the pictures on the wall over by the TV. So that's kind of some of that audio-visual that Adam was talking about as far as building these things into your plan and having that ready to go. We've also done some other ones that are a little more, this is just another example. You can see the TV and the whole entertainment center around it. Cabinets below, so you can hide a lot of your components and those kinds of things. And in other cases, we've done full-blown theaters like this one, where you have the large screen, and they actually have some really cool recliners in there, so they can sit back and you can see the equipment's in the back. So you can go real simple with it, or you can make it super fancy and have a whole room dedicated to just watching movies.
Yeah.
I need the address for that place.
Generally comes down to that discussion around budget, right?
Yes.
If you've got money to spend, we can certainly find a good place to put it for you and give you a really nice experience. And most people don't want to spend the kind of money to put into a full theater. It's really the equipment that is what's staggering. So then we have to put into the design. Where does the equipment go, like Julie said? Does it just go in a base cabinet somewhere? Because most people don't want all those blinking blue and green and red lights exposed next to the TV. The old entertainment center we had as growing up again, that there was just everything was just on a shelf right below the TV. Nowadays we have these nice flat screen TVs. It's hung on the wall. It looks like a piece of art, and all of the media equipment, the source equipment, is somewhere else in the basement. So we run conduits for future expansions on the type of technologies, and we have gear rooms sometimes, even full racks of equipment that's either concealed behind a hidden bookcase somewhere, or it's just in an unfinished area nearby. We try and make it easily accessible so that it's usable, not hard to get at. The wiring is all easy. You always hate having to reach behind a receiver or a piece of gear to try and pull out that HDMI cable. You got to pull the whole thing out, and so we try and make it all as easy as possible too. Part of the functional of the design.
That's such a great point about the wiring and so forth, and having. I was going to ask you about that separate closet or something separate, so that you're still keeping the integrity of the beauty of the design. And there's a lot of times you'll see this beautiful furniture and design, and then these all these cables and wires coming through. It's always such a problem for people. And we have a great comment from the audience as well, saying that space is gorgeous. I've never seen a tray ceiling in a basement. I was thinking the same thing. I mean, talk about making that just seem so open. I mean, I would not think that's a basement at all.
Yeah, a lot of times half of that tray ceiling is based out of necessity. We have ductwork and beams, other things that hang below the ceiling joists that we need to accommodate. And then it's just based on the, I'd say, the technical savvy of the designer to make sure that you bury what needs to be buried, and then you add other soffits to make the ceilings really one of a kind. It creates the space blocking without having any walls. So it really does create special kind of spaces just defined by the ceiling itself. It adds a little bit of height. You have that different, it's called compression and release of the space. So as you walk under a soffit, you feel the space get smaller and then expand again as it opens up. It makes the room feel larger, even though the ceiling is at the same height as it always was. So we utilize those soffits in both of those reasons. And then throwing in some crown molding, some rope light, really can give a room a lot of ambience without having harsh downlights or anything, which sometimes for watching TV and evening viewing, it's nice not to have those recessed lights, which is a very common way to light a space. But they're kind of harsh. They come straight down at you, and it's harder to watch TV. It sometimes causes some shadows or some glares on the screen. So a lot of design into each ceiling and then what it looks like. And it really helps define a space and make it look really kind of cool, just like the viewer said.
Here's a quick question for you too. What about actually repurposing a room like that, or unwinding a room? Let's say you've decided you're going to turn it into the game room or the wine cellar. How's that for switching things around on a design of a room?
Yeah, again, you kind of take it in reverse, and like you start with something that's already there, and then what's the shortest path, either one, the least expensive, or the most functional pathway to get what you want done. So it's just kind of designing kind of in reverse, and figuring out what you can keep and what you need to remove. We call demo, demolish. Take some walls out. You see it on HGTV all the time, guys with their hammers and stuff taking walls out and cutting studs and making new openings where there wasn't one, closing in a door and doing some drywall patching. So it's very, very easy to manipulate, modify walls, and make a room into something different. It's really not difficult.
That's excellent.
When you're a professional, it's difficult.
Excellent distinction. Don't try this at home. Have somebody else try this at home that knows how to do it.
Yeah. Always with the caveat, you know, we're the pros. It looks a lot easier than it really is in practice. There's a lot of code regulations that need to be followed. There's a lot of safety regulations with wiring and the plumbing that could be behind walls that you just don't want to get into it if you haven't done it before. It can be really daunting, and you can make a mess of your house real quick.
Absolutely, and really, and that's where you live. So that's also a great point. I mean, unless you just plan on spending some money and go staying somewhere else, you really do want to start it right from the beginning, and then it doesn't extend out longer, which is what also happens when projects aren't started and designed and then executed properly.